Alright, let's talk about something special today. Not a big budget reboot, not a licensed cash grab, not a nostalgia bait mobile game stuffed with ads. This is about a fan-made project that somehow understands He-Man better than most official releases ever did. And the wild part is, it's completely free. Before we jump into this version of Eternia, let me just quickly set the stage with OpenBOR. Because this engine is the reason something like this can ever exist. So, what exactly is OpenBOR? Okay, short for Open Beats of Rage, it is free, open source 2D engine built specifically for side-scrolling beat-em-ups. This thing started as a modification of the 2004 Beats of Rage project, and over time it evolved into an insanely flexible toolkit for fans and indie creators. While it's best known for brawlers, it can handle platformers, shooters, mounted stages, scripted boss fights, and even versus modes. Games are usually distributed as self-contained .pack files, and the Chrono Crash community acts as the backbone for development, documentation, and sharing projects. No royalties, no paywalls, just pure creative freedom. And that freedom is exactly why we're here today. Because let me tell you, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe in OpenBOR might just be the best He-Man game ever made. And yes, that includes the official ones, people. Okay, so how did it all start? I might be a little hazy on the actual year it came out, but I think this was back in 2013. I could be wrong though, but hey, the main idea behind this project was simple, but powerful. Take the original Filmation cartoon. Respect its look, its tone, its characters, and its world. Then translate all of that into a proper old-school beat-em-up that feels like something you would have rented obsessively in the 90s. This is not a parody, and not a loose interpretation either. The creator literally took the cartoon figures and rebuilt them from scratch as playable OpenBOR characters. Sprites and animations were created specifically for this project, closely mimicking the Filmation style. It feels like the cartoon escaped your TV and turned into a game. And the scope here is ridiculous. You get a full map of Eternia and a lot of stages spread across different regions. On-foot brawling levels, mounted stages, versus fighting, and giant boss encounters. I did actually try the game a few days back and then I thought, hey, why not make a video on this? To talk about the playable roster, it is absolutely stacked. You can currently play as He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Battle-Cat, Sorceress, Skeletor, Evil Lyn, She-Ra, Ram-Man, Teela, and Lion-O. Yes, Lion-O. Cross-franchise love is alive and well here. The characters have their cool attacks and special moves. He-Man focuses on powerful sword strikes and crowd control. Man-at-Arms brings flame-based weapons and ranged pressure. Magic users like Sorceress and Evil Lyn add ranged and area control options. I think what's especially cool is that the developer actively welcomes character requests and special move ideas. This is still evolving, and you can feel that community-driven energy baked into the game. One of the coolest things about this game is how it treats Eternia as an actual place instead of a backdrop. You move across forests, deserts, ruined outposts, enemy strongholds, and of course, areas tied directly to Castle Grayskull. The world map connects everything together, giving the adventure a sense of scale. You feel like you're pushing back Skeletor's forces across the planet, not just clearing random levels. Mounted stages deserve a special mention here. Riding through Eternia at full speed on Battle-Cat changes the pacing completely. These sections are faster, more aggressive, and designed to break up the standard beat-em-up flow. It's the kind of variety official games often skip because it's harder to balance. Here, it feels natural and fateful. And instead of tracing sprites or recycling assets, every character and environment was created from scratch. Talk about dedication. The art style deliberately mimics classic hand-drawn animation. Thick outlines, expressive poses, exaggerated motion. It immediately triggers that Filmation nostalgia without looking cheap or stiff. Animations are fluid, readable, and surprisingly detailed for a fan project. Attacks have clear wind-ups. Enemies telegraph their moves. Bosses feel large and dangerous instead of spammy. The creators didn't just slap a He-Man skin onto a generic brawler and called it a day. You can see the effort. It's a full conversation of the cartoon's visual language into interactive form. Let's break down how this actually plays. Enter a stage, fight waves of enemies, manage spacing and crowd control, defeat many bosses, and push forward until you hit a major encounter. Between stages, the world map keeps things grounded and gives you a sense of progression across Eternia. Combat revolves around light attacks, heavy strikes, special moves, and situational awareness. Characters have abilities that drastically change how they approach fights. Some excel at crowd control, others at burst damage or ranged pressure. There's enough hit stop to sell blows without slowing the game down. Mounted stages feel faster and looser, which is exactly what they should be. The game starts accessible but ramps up steadily. Early stages let you learn enemy patterns. Later levels introduce more aggressive AI, mixed enemy types, and bosses that demand positioning and timing. It's challenging without being unfair. Progression is mostly skill-based. You get better by learning enemy behaviors, mastering your character's moveset, and understanding when to push or retreat. This old-school approach fits the genre perfectly. Like many OpenBOR projects, balancing can feel uneven at times. Some characters are clearly stronger than others, and certain late-game encounters can spike in difficulty. Performance also depends heavily on your device, especially on Android. At its core, this is a classic side-scrolling beat-em-up, but it layers more systems on top than you'd expect. The game supports multiple characters on screen simultaneously. Up to 4 heroes can fight together. This makes co-op play one of the strongest aspects of the experience. Let's move to aesthetics now. Seriously, the art style nails that hand-drawn feel without looking blurry or unfinished. The sprites, backgrounds, everything looks sharp and detailed. UI elements are clean and readable even during chaotic fights. Performance on PC is extraordinarily smooth. I mean, that's a given. But on Android, things depend on your hardware. The game runs at a decent resolution, and you need at least a 1.5 GHz or dual-core device to get a stable experience. Older phones struggle, with frame drops and choppy gameplay. Audio is another highlight. The soundtrack leans into heroic fantasy themes that feel right at home in Eternia. Sound effects have weight. Sword strikes, energy blasts, and enemy hits all sound satisfying. Voice clips and effects help sell character identity without becoming annoying. The overall tone is heroic, adventurous, and unapologetically classic. This feels like He-Man. Not edgy, not ironic, just bold fantasy action. And now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. How does this compare to He-Man, Defender of Grayskull on the PS2? Now, that one's a classic, especially how it tried to modernize the franchise with 3D action gameplay. While ambitious, Defender of Grayskull suffered from repetitive combat, camera issues, and a lack of personality compared to the cartoon. Other He-Man games over the years often felt rushed, simplified, or disconnected from the source material. This OpenBOR project wins where those lose. I mean, it understands pacing. It understands character identity. It understands that He-Man works best as bold, colorful, over-the-top action experience. And it does all of that without studio budgets or licensing deals. Honestly, and we can all agree on something. It feels like something a AAA studio could never risk making. Even today. Yeah, I heard you. I know it's a great game and all, but where can you play it? This is the best part. The game is completely free. There's a Windows version available at heman/pc.zip and an Android version released as hemanshira.apk for tablets and smartphones. On PC, setup is simple. Download, extract, play. On Android, make sure your device meets the minimum requirements, at least 1.5 GHz or dual-core processor. Older phones, especially those that don't support the resolution properly, will struggle hard. Some users report choppy gameplay and skipped frames on unsupported devices. But when it runs properly, it's magic. The community response says everything. Players straight up call this an absolute masterpiece. People openly say that a AAA studio could never deliver something this authentic today. The developer is constantly praised as a legend for pulling this off. There's also constant demand for a sequel. And honestly, if it ever happens, making Skeletor the central villain again would be perfect. Eternia always works best when everything revolves around that skull-faced menace. But hey, there's something else on the horizon here. The new He-Man game, Dragon Pearl of Destruction? Now, could this new game be the game changer the He-Man franchise needed? We're looking at a 2026 release that is a long-awaited bucket list for fans of classic arcade action. Though it still has no confirmed release date, players are really excited. From what it looks like, it's designed as a fast, no-nonsense brawler. The game will take you into the heart of Eternia with He-Man, Teela, and Man-at-Arms leading the charge against Skeletor's latest world-ending ritual. The combat looks all about impact and spectacle, mixing hard-hitting melee attacks with explosive magic and character-specific special moves that light up the screen. Even though people are loving the look and overall presentation, a few are still cautious about the fighting itself. The big hope is that it goes beyond the usual arcade-style mash fest and delivers combat with real layers. Even if it's received well, I don't think it can ever dethrone the OpenBOR version. You know why? Because this is the He-Man game made by fans for the fans. Okay, I guess that's all I needed to say about this legendary game. So yeah, if you haven't tried it yet, you seriously owe it to yourself. And with that, I'll bid you goodbye, Eternians. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And by the power of Grayskull, I'll see you in the next one.